We'd like to thank you all for joining us for this 5th edition of the European Ombudsman Award for Good Administration. My name's Teri Schultz, and I'm so pleased to be hosting the ceremony this evening. It's going to be an exciting event, and we're so grateful for your presence, our distinguished guests from the institutions, of course, all of our nominees, and just really everyone who's here supporting these very creative and important endeavors. So we are going to take you through all 48 nominated projects over the course of the evening, category by category. Then we'll move to the 3 shortlisted projects, and then the Ombudswoman will name the winner in each category. After that, we will also crown an overall champion, and we'll let you know who won the vote for the most popular project, the public vote. This ceremony is also being live streamed on LinkedIn and YouTube and on the Ombudsman's website, so I'd like to welcome all of you joining us remotely, and we'd like to encourage everyone to take part in an online discussion on whatever social media you use, using the hashtag EOAward, capital E, capital O, capital A, Ward. Now, let's get started. I would like to invite to the stage European Ombudswoman Teresa Anjinho. Ombudswoman, the floor is yours.
So, thank you very much, dear honored guests, heads of institutions, secretary generals, director generals, dear colleagues, dear friends. Welcome. As you can imagine, it is a pleasure to be here in this beautiful and historic Solvay library for the 5th edition of the European Ombudsman Award for Good Administration. There is something symbolic about meeting in the Solvay library. It reminds us that public institutions are at their best when they combine knowledge with purpose and expertise with public service. Those are also the values embodied by the nominees and winners of today's Good Administration Award. My first words go to the people behind each of the 48 nominated projects. Today is, above all, a celebration of your work and of the very real difference that work makes in the lives of people across Europe and beyond. This is my first time, as you know, taking part in these awards as European Ombudswoman. I still recall that early in my mandate, one of the first decisions I was asked to make was whether this initiative should continue. For me, there was never any doubt, because these awards embody something essential about the role of the European Ombudsman. We are not only here to address maladministration when it occurs, we are also here to uphold and promote a culture of good administration, to recognize it, to encourage it, and to make it visible. From the moment we launched the call for nominations, I looked forward to discovering the projects that would be put forward by EU institutions, bodies, offices, and agencies. And what I found was truly inspiring, is truly inspiring. 48 projects, each reflecting dedication, creativity, and a deep sense of public service, also generosity. Together, they tell a powerful story, a story of a European civil service that does not merely apply rules, but strives to serve people better. That does not stand still, but anticipates challenges. And also that does not work in isolation, but builds bridges across institutions, member states, and beyond. They remind us that good administration is not an abstract principle. It is daily practice, and of course, a shared responsibility. But they also show something more. They show that the European civil servants are not only guardians of values, but active contributors to the European project itself. Through your work, you help nurture trust, strengthen transparency, and foster a sense of belonging, the very essence of European citizenship. Well, a true Team EU performance worthy of the World Cup. This is particularly evident in the public vote, whose winner we will announce shortly. The enthusiasm with which so many of you promoted your project speaks not only to professional pride, but to genuine commitment to engaging with citizens and bringing Europe closer to them. In that sense, your work goes one step further. It does not only deliver good administration, it helps building a community. Of course, having so many outstanding projects also made the selection process a difficult challenge. Picking the winners often felt like choosing between equally compelling examples of excellence. I am therefore deeply grateful to the members of the Advisory Board, Georgina Wright, Claudia Monte, and Reres Vaiku, for their insight, dedication, and invaluable support. Let me also thank everyone who submitted a nomination. By sharing your work, you are helping to shine a light on what good administration looks like in practice and why it matters. I would also like to express, allow me to do so, my sincere appreciation to my colleagues at the European Ombudsman Office, in particular to Gundi, head of our communications unit, and through her, all those who contributed to making this initiative and today's ceremony possible. And finally, let me warmly thank Tony Murphy, President of the European Court of Auditors, for joining us today. So, President Murphy, I now give you the floor, and thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. Thank you very much. Thanks very much for the invitation to speak here this evening at this very important event, I think, where we're recognising excellence in public administration. Having been a public servant myself for many, many years, both in the Irish administration and now in the European domain, I think it's very important that institutions, connect with the people, that they're serving. And I think it's very important that these projects show that that level of connection is there. It takes a lot of effort, but I think it's worth it in the end. So in terms of the European Court of Auditors, I think we share a fundamental mission, to safeguard the integrity of EU action, uphold transparency and protect citizens' trust. So in a way, we have very similar, mandates, I would say. The way we fulfill our missions may differ, but we basically are similar in terms of our bodies. We don't have any legally binding powers, let's say. Maybe unfortunately, but that's just the way it is. So we operate on influence rather than enforcement. So we rely on recommendations, audits, and public reporting to compel EU entities to correct maladministration or to improve financial management. And in many ways, we rely on our credibility to persuade and to shape public debate. This is central to strengthening our institutions' ability to contribute to democratic governance. Auditors and ombudsmen and ombudswomen are sometimes viewed skeptically. We can be looked on as critics or troublemakers rather than partners. I recognise this perception, but I think it should be scrutiny itself is not an end in itself, but it's a means to better governance. Our messages and how they are communicated really matter. Our assessments must become tools for constructive reform, not merely instruments of criticism. Dear colleagues, I want to take a moment to acknowledge the strong working relationship that has developed between the European Court of Auditors and the European Ombudsman Office over the recent years. That connection has been built on mutual respect and shared commitment to public service. I believe the leadership of your previous Ombudswoman helped cement personal and institutional ties, and having welcomed Teresa to the European Court of Auditors this year, where she met our members, I am confident that those bonds will continue to deepen. Our collaboration is not merely symbolic, it has a real and tangible impact. Looking at some of the recent work of the Ombudsman, what stood out for me were your inquiries into the Commission's fast tracking of legislative proposals last year. In those cases, the Commission invoked urgency and set aside normal rule-making steps, public consultations were skipped and impact assessments curtailed. This matters to us at the ECHA because much of our recent work has focused on the legislative proposals for the next MFF. We have issued 12 opinions on those proposals, and we found a similar issue in terms of impact assessments that are weakly supported. For programmes that propose much larger budgets, the proposals and their underlying assessments lack solid analysis of need and do not clearly justify why increases are necessary. So what does this mean? Well, to put it simply, you call out the Commission when procedures are not being done, and we call them out when they are not being done properly. So between us, we hopefully get there in the end. But on a serious note, I think this reinforces our collective commitment to integrity and transparency. When our institutions act consistently, we set a high standard for public administration. It also raises our profile as guardians of public interest. By pursuing the facts and insisting on proper procedures, we demonstrated that we as public bodies are both credible and resolute in defending the public interest. And as I said earlier, our messages and how they are communicated matter. And that's precisely why ceremonies like this one are important, because they celebrate those who turn scrutiny into improvement and how reform and good practice strengthens public confidence. In our reports, we do not only point out shortcomings, we also highlight what works well, providing concrete examples of good practices. I think by showing positive examples alongside our findings, we give policymakers practical guidance and build confidence in reform. That balanced approach is essential in public debate and is exactly the spirit that this evening's awards celebrate. The award categories include excellence in technological innovation and the use of AI, civil society participation, diversity and inclusion, important areas that directly impact our citizens. They celebrate efforts that improve public services, strengthen engagement between institutions and communities, and promote fairness and representation. And so I think Teresa summed it up very well in a recent speech where she stated, "Trust is born when there is a real will to do good." That spirit is precisely what is being celebrated here this evening. The tangible results of that will in the work of our nominees. And in a world of competing voices and disinformation and misinformation, that willingness to act with integrity can sometimes be hard to identify. And this is why institutions like ours matter, by providing independent assessments, upholding integrity and cutting through the noise. We help shape better reforms and rebuild public trust. So to close, let me also add that, as I mentioned earlier, this evening's awards cover many important categories, and none more so than excellence in diversity and inclusion, which coincidentally is the category in which the ECA has itself been nominated. Win or lose, we don't mind, because we're just very happy to have been nominated, and we will continue to work in this area nonetheless. I would like to offer my heartfelt congratulations and to all 48 nominees, and in my view, humble view, you're all winners. Your work truly matters and makes a real difference to the citizens we serve. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Murphy, for those inspiring words. And just a note also about the Ombudswoman, which she didn't share with you herself, but not only did she insist on continuing this initiative, but when the nominees came in, she actually looked at them all. She downloaded the apps, she played the games, and really did struggle to have to make a choice. So all of these projects are very excellent, and now we're going to go through all 48 of them. They've been divided into 4 categories, which are excellence in technological innovation and the use of AI, excellence in citizen and civil society participation, excellence in diversity and inclusion, as Mr. Murphy mentioned, excellence in open administration. And as a reminder, for each category, we will first present the projects in the order with which they were nominated before announcing the shortlist and ultimately the winner. So without further ado, let's proceed with the nominees for the first category. And that category is excellence in technological innovation and the use of AI. And the nominees are the European Commission's DG GROW for their AI-driven proactive web crawler used to detect dangerous and non-compliant products sold online. The system is used by 1,300 inspectors across the EU to strengthen consumer protection and support fair competition in the single market. The European Commission's DG RTD for the Open Administration through Evidence-Based and Inclusive Practice project. The project uses public information and ethical AI techniques to create learning tools that explain complex administrative principles to citizens and strengthen public trust. The European Data Protection Supervisor, EDPS, for the creation of the AI Act Correspondent Role and the AI Act Correspondent Network. The network helps EU institutions harmonize AI-related policies and share best practices to better ensure that citizens' rights are protected. And another project from the EDPS, the AI Regulatory Sandbox. The sandbox provides a controlled environment to test AI systems during development, helping identify compliance challenges, reduce deployment risk, and clarify regulatory requirements. Europol, for the development of the Roblox game Cyber Defenders, an interactive experience that builds digital resilience by educating young people on safe online behavior and critical thinking. The European Commission's DG EAC and the European Education and Culture Executive Agency for the European Digital Education Hub. This platform offers webinars, working groups, and community workshops to share good practices and discuss ideas related to AI education, the classroom of the future, and well-being in digital education. The European Commission's DG Just for the Fair at Just event to showcase the transformative potential of AI in enhancing the delivery of public services. Through interactive workshops, the project demonstrated how AI can be used responsibly to handle complaints, answer parliamentary questions, prepare briefings, and more. The European Education and Culture Executive Agency for their pilot initiative blending human expertise with AI to better utilize the results of the thousands of citizen-focused projects the EU funds annually. The project developed essential prompts, tools, and guidance to create insights tailored to policymakers' needs. The European Commission's DGT for creating an institutional multilingual large language model by using a vast database of EU texts. The model prioritizes transparency, control, and alignment with EU values, enabling EU institutions to build secure AI applications and improve services for citizens. And finally, the European Central Bank's Public Inquiries team for their utilization of modern, user-friendly tools such as a chatbot, a web form, a customer relationship management platform, a machine translation tool, and a toll-free number to provide faster and clearer answers to citizens' questions. We will now announce this category's 3 shortlisted projects and share a short video for each. Ombudswoman, would you please do the honors?
Okay, so now our 3 finalists in excellence in technological innovation and the use of AI are DG Grow, AI-driven surveillance to detect dangerous goods sold online.
The project is called Proactive Web Crawler, an AI-driven surveillance to detect dangerous goods that are sold online. The Proactive Web Crawler is an AI-driven system that utilizing the European Commission corporate AI tools to scan the commercial websites, analyze the product description and user reviews in an attempt to find and flag potential signs of non-compliance. Toys, cosmetics, drones, etc. It has been extensively used by more than 1,300 users from the market surveillance authorities across all the member states, and it really boosts up their daily workload because they don't have to manually scrape the web to find those products. They are just focusing on the most important part of the work, which is to do the assessment, the final validation, and the follow-up measures. I think by using the Proactive Web Crawler, we are making the single market safer for consumers, and we are also protecting the EU businesses from unfair competition.
Thank you. Moving on, Europol, cyber defenders building digital resilience through a Roblox game.
We have built Cyber Defenders, building digital resilience through a Roblox game. Some children aged 9 to 12 spend hours a day playing online games. The criminals who target them are aware of this. With Cyber Defenders, we use new tools, new technology, to help protect citizens in today's world. Alongside the game, we made available a set of teacher resources, and we also reached out to schools, to teachers, to help them integrate the game into their curriculum. Teachers and parents are really looking for resources, looking for help to get the conversation going with their children, with their students, to help them build digital skills, to help them stay safe online. The feedback that we received is that such a game is very welcome and very useful in today's world.
And finally, DG EAC and the European Education and Culture Executive Agency, Community for Digital Education Experts.
Our project is called the European Digital Education Hub, a community for digital education experts and enthusiasts. The community really brings together researchers, policymakers, educators, teachers, academics, very different types of stakeholders, and it really aims to support those people in learning a bit more about digital education, about operating online safely, and to guide their students to operate online safely in an ethical way. And on the other hand, it really brings policymakers closer to the classrooms. So it helps to craft policies that really take into consideration what is going on in the classrooms, what is happening with the teachers, with academics, and how to bring this together in the initiatives that we produce.
So congratulations to the 3 finalists. It was really difficult. And our first winner of the night is Europol, Cyber Defenders Building Digital Resilience Through Roblox Games. Here.
Could the Europol project representatives please come to the stage?
Yes.
If you could hear me, our Europol project is coming. We recognize him from the video. Yes. Yeah, we'd just like to find out a little bit more about your project. How did you decide to use Roblox as the theme for your game?
Yeah, thank you. So one of the things that Europol does in our innovation lab is to look at new technologies and the potential use of new technology for law enforcement, but also the potential abuse by criminals. So we published a study a couple of years ago on the metaverse. And when this report was published, our executive director asked us to look into practical applications as well. So we looked at a number of platforms. We looked at where players were, where children were. We looked at the information that we could offer as Europol. And putting all of that together, we decided on Roblox as a platform. Just to clarify, we're asking no child to go to Roblox to play this game. It's merely those children that are there. That they can use this as a resource, and for what we've seen amongst colleagues, amongst the schools that we go to, lots of children are there, and the resource is very much appreciated.
Well, as mother of teenagers, we appreciate this very much. And in your submission, you also mentioned that the publications office was involved in your project. How exactly did that work?
Okay, so yes, indeed. So we work in Europol's communication team, and you can imagine that building a game is different from organizing an event or publishing a publication or report. Through the publication office, we had access to a framework contract with AR and VR development, and so the game was developed under that framework contract. So indeed, without the publication office, we wouldn't have been able to build this game.
Very interesting cooperation. Okay, thank you very much, and congratulations once again.
You.
Our second category of the evening is excellence in citizen and civil society participation. And our nominees are the European Commission's DG EOC for Youth Policy Dialogues, which provide a direct channel for young people to engage with European commissioners. More than 500 young people from diverse backgrounds have shared their perspectives with commissioners, informing initiatives such as the Cultural Compass and the Action Plan Against Cyberbullying. The European Commission's DG Grow for the Single Market Tour, a traveling exhibition to raise citizen awareness about the benefits of the EU single market. Across 44 cities in 24 countries, the tour saw 30,000 visitors in 2023 and 2024. the European Commission's DG EAOC for bringing together institutions, stakeholders, and more than 1.8 million young people through European Youth Week 2024. Through a kickoff event, an exhibition, a Discover EU call and meetup, youth policy dialogues, and more than 2,000 activities across Europe, the event empowered young people to engage in public life and shape Europe's future. The European Commission's DG COM for European citizens panels that helped embed citizens' perspectives into EU policymaking. Each panel brings together 150 randomly selected EU citizens to discuss key policy challenges, with their recommendations feeding directly into Commission initiatives. The European Commission for the Encyclopedia of the New European Bauhaus. Comprising 3 volumes and over 1,500 pages written by a diverse team of 44 contributors, the encyclopedia documents the wide range of projects and initiatives that have emerged since the Bauhaus's launch in 2020. The Publications Office of the European Union for the game On a Quest for Facts, which helps young people learn and practice fact-checking skills with EU data and information. The game centers on a fictitious social media post and requires students to investigate the false claims using the help of engaging characters. The European Commission's DG COM for its network of skilled community managers who facilitate authentic communication with citizens and counter misinformation on social media. The network has increased online engagement and played a crucial role in combating AI-driven misinformation. The European Commission's DG EAOC for the Youth Advisory Board, which empowers young people to shape democratic processes through participative policymaking. The board advises the Commission on issues important to young people, ensuring that EU policies align with their needs and concerns. The European Committee of Regions, together with the European Commission's DG COM, for the EU Local Councillors Network, which brings together over 3,000 regional and local elected representatives to help communicate EU policies and opportunities to citizens. The European Commission's DG Klima for the European Climate Pact, a participatory initiative designed to engage citizens in Europe's climate transition. Through a network of over 1,500 volunteer ambassadors and 100 partners, the pact connects EU institutions with local communities to turn climate ambition into citizen-driven action. The European Central Bank for their project to give Euro banknotes a fresh look. The bank had citizens participate in a public consultation to select a theme, while professional designers and experts are working with the bank on new, eco-friendly, and accessible designs with cutting-edge security. The European Commission's DG EAOC for organizing a European Citizens Panel on intergenerational fairness, where 150 randomly selected citizens discussed how to make the EU fairer for current and future generations. Participants agreed on 24 recommendations, covering areas such as education and European identity, and addressing long-term risks linked to artificial intelligence and climate change. And finally, also from the European Commission's DG EAOC, the Be Active campaign. Through thousands of citizen-driven events each year, the campaign has encouraged people to swap screens for movement to strengthen well-being, build community, and foster a shared sense of belonging. Now I'll hand it back over to the Ombudswoman for the category finalists.
So thank you, Teri. All amazing projects, as you have seen. So our 3 finalists in excellent in citizen and civil society participation are the European Commission's DG EAOC, European Youth Week 2024, Voice Your Vision.
Our project is the European Youth Week 2024, Voice Your Vision. The European Youth Week is a biannual event organized by the European Commission to celebrate, to promote youth participation, engagement, and active citizenship all over Europe and beyond. 2024 was an important year for Europe, for youth, for you, for me, due to the European elections. And this edition of the Youth Week has a special focus on mobilizing young people to go to vote. The impact was incredible. We brought together institutions, stakeholders, and over 5.8 million young people. More than 2,000 activities and events were organized in 38 countries. We created also a very strong presence on social media by reaching to almost 10 million users. And this is how we empower young people to shape the future of Europe.
You can feel the passion,
Exactly.
right? just by looking. And our second finalist, the European Committee of Regions and the European Commission's DG COM, the EU Local Councillors Network.
Our project is the EU Local Councillors Network, bringing Europe closer to the citizens. The network is bringing together more than 3,000 elected representatives from across the EU, from the local level and regional level, and we help the members communicate Europe on the ground, the EU actions, the EU opportunities and policies to help them communicate to the citizens and bridge the gap between the EU and the citizens. We organize events locally in Brussels, we provide information, regular updates, visits. The network is a good example of interinstitutional cooperation, making better use of resources, and we hope to see the network keep growing and have a concrete impact on the ground to continue bringing Europe closer to the citizens.
And finally, the European Commission's DG Klima, European Climate Pact, Citizens Driving Europe's Climate Action.
Our project is the European Climate Pact, Citizens Driving Europe's Climate Action. The European Climate Pact is a network of people and organizations involved in climate action. We have a network of more than 1,000 European Climate Pact ambassadors and partner organizations who come together to exchange, to learn from each other, and to work together on solutions to Europe's climate challenges. The European Climate Pact connects this network of local change makers with European institutions, policymakers, and European policies to help bridge the gap between broad climate objectives and concrete action in all corners of Europe. We invite all citizens to take part, whether it's a climate walk in their neighborhood, joining an energy community, or taking a training course about climate action. We believe that initiatives like the European Climate Pact help strengthen European policy making and make the policies come to life with the active participation of citizens all around Europe.
Congratulations to the shortlisted projects. And our winner is the European Commission's DG Klima, European Climate Pact, Citizens Driving Europe's Climate Action. Congratulations.
So once again, we would just like to hear a little bit more about the project. Congratulations. So fighting climate change can sometimes feel like an uphill battle these days. So it's a really big deal that you are winning this award for engaging citizens. How have you seen the response among people? I mean, it's not losing momentum, is it? I mean, should be.
We notice that when we involve citizens and we make them like ambassadors and we involve them in our activities of the European Commission, actually the effort is a bit easier for us because they can rely our messages and our policies to their communities. So this helps us a lot also to avoid all the polarization that at the moment is around climate change and help us to reach citizens that are classically not close to our channels and our reach. So I think that the European Climate Pact really helps bridging this gap, as it was mentioned in the video, and help us also to avoid all this polarization and discussion and backlashes around climate changes. So we think that involving citizens is the best way to really have policies that reflect, like the effort of the European Commission.
And if you could pick one of the projects or initiatives in your nominated project. What would it be? What worked best? I think everybody's interested to hear that.
Yeah, we recently launched Back to School initiative. It's basically mimicking what the European Commission does, the Back to School initiatives, and we invite our ambassadors to go to schools and to promote climate change, raise awareness about EU policies, but also at the same time doing challenges, concrete challenges, and sponsoring with a small amount of money, that is €1,000. The European Climate Pact really wants to engage with schools and educators, for example, to make projects with them, to put solar panels, or rather, like create climate shelters in the schools. So this type of small actions, very practical actions, yes, indeed.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Very inspiring. Thank you very much, and once again, congratulations.
Thank you.
Sorry. We now move on to our third category, excellence in diversity and inclusion. And our nominees are the European Economic and Social Committee's Youth Group for the EU Youth Test. This project assesses how proposed EU policies affect young people and future generations, ensuring their concerns are taken into account in areas such as climate policy, digital transition, and employment. The European Commission's DG Regio for the Just Transition Platform, which helps communities in EU regions that rely heavily on coal mining or other polluting industries to transition toward a decarbonized economy. The European Court of Auditors for developing a disabilities roadmap to create a more inclusive workplace for persons with disabilities. The roadmap sets out actions to remove physical, digital, and attitudinal barriers while promoting accessible infrastructure and inclusive communication. The European Commission's DG Just for the European Day of Persons with Disabilities, which ensures the voices of persons with disabilities are heard and integrated into decision-making. The event also features the Access City Award, which recognizes EU cities that excel in accessibility. The European Maritime Safety Agency for promoting diversity and inclusion in the maritime sector by introducing children to maritime and sustainability concepts, showcasing career paths for teenagers, and supporting young adults through traineeships and job fairs. The European Parliament's Directorate General for Personnel for its annual Positive Action Program to promote inclusion by recruiting contract agents with disabilities. The European Commission's DG Employment for the introduction of a flexible verification approach in the European Social Fund for determining the eligibility of disadvantaged groups. The new approach aims to reduce the administrative burden for smaller beneficiaries and increase the participation of the most vulnerable by protecting their dignity and privacy. The European Commission's DG Com and DG Home for their joint campaign marking 40 years of the Schengen Agreement. The campaign reminded citizens of the practical benefits of free movement and engaged young creators to showcase these advantages in videos filmed at iconic EU borders. The European Commission's DG EOC for expanding the Discovery EU Travel Pass program to better support young people who may have fewer opportunities, including those facing disabilities, health issues, economic hardship, discrimination, cultural or educational barriers, or geographical isolation. The Council of the European Union for its Employer Branding Action Plan to provide transparent and accessible insights into council careers. Through clearer messaging, modernized recruitment practices, and real-life stories from staff, the plan helps drive job applications from all 27 member states. The European Commission's DG Just for the EU Children's Participation Platform, which supports children's rights by providing opportunities for them to express their opinions and contribute to the development of policies that affect them. And finally, the European Commission's DG EOC for the Be Inclusive EU Sport Awards, which celebrate grassroots projects that utilize sport and physical activity to promote inclusion, equality, and social cohesion around Europe. Once again, Ombudswoman, could you please share our finalists?
Wonderful initiatives. And our three finalists in Excellence in Diversity and Inclusion are the European Economic and Social Committee, empowering youth voices through the EU Youth Test.
Our project is empowering youth voices through the EESC Youth Test. This project was co-created with the European Youth Forum and gives young people a seat at the decision-making table. Every month, youth organizations set the agenda by telling us what EESC opinions matter to them. And then they're put in direct contact with the pen holders, the EESC members. Since its launch, less than 2 years ago, over 80 EESC opinions have been youth tested, officially making us cool. Other EU bodies, national, regional, and local authorities have been knocking on our door to learn from our experience. As the young people say, nothing about them without them.
Very cool. Second, the European Commission's DG Regio, Just Transition Platform, Diversity and Inclusion in EU Regions.
Our project is Just Transition Platform, Inclusion and Diversity in EU Regions. In the context of climate change, the top priority for the European Commission is decarbonization, and we are helping in these efforts. First of all, we have experts that we send to the regions in transition to make the transition just and fair. We organize also region-to-region exchanges, and additionally, we also organize working groups, and on the top, we also organize huge Just Transition Platform conferences in Brussels. The biggest achievement of the Just Transition Platform is the community behind the platform. We managed to build a very dedicated group of stakeholders in all 27 member states that are very passionate about the transition process, and they will do very much to make decarbonization happen in a fair and inclusive way.
Impressive. And finally, the European Commission's DG EAC, Youth and Volunteer Solidarity, Discover EU Inclusion Action, opening Europe to all young people.
The project is Discover EU Inclusion Action, opening Europe to all young people. This is an Erasmus Plus initiative that allows young people aged between 18 and 21 that face barriers like financial, social barriers, disabilities, geographical barriers or discrimination to travel across Europe, mainly by train. In this way, they can meet other peers in Europe and they can visit a cultural site. And when those young people come back, it's not just about the travel. They come back with new skill, with independence, confidence, and friendship across different cultures. And they come back with something bigger, the sense of belonging to Europe.
Very well, the sense of belonging to Europe. So congratulations, everyone. And our winner for excellence in diversity and inclusion is the European Commission's DG EAC, Discover EU Inclusion Action, Opening Europe. Congratulations.
Congratulations, and your smile is just bringing tears to my eyes. Your pride is so obvious here. And think about this, what a gift to give to young people who could not otherwise afford travel. What a luxury that you are allowing them. And as you say, it makes you a different person, doesn't it? You are creating an entirely different person this way.
Definitely, and I'm so privileged of that. Really, it's an honor for me. I'm very lucky to work in this action because, as you know, allowing these young people to travel across Europe, to build their trust in themselves, their confidence, their independence is something magic. These young people could not afford to go to travel by train in Europe without such action. So we see really that these make a difference. And that is so great to be part of it.
I think in your video you said it all. This is not about the travel. This is what opening your eyes to the rest of the continent can do for you, right?
That's correct, that's correct. And it's opening, and this is possible also, I want also to mention, also thanks to the Erasmus national agencies that are on the territory that allows this to be in contact with the grassroots organization that are working on daily basis with these young people with these disadvantages. So for me it's an honor again. I'm privileged and very lucky to work on it.
And what are your plans to keep it going? I remember when these plans were announced and they were quite remarkable, but I mean, what's the future of this program?
The future is to allow even more young people with fewer opportunities, because you said we had tears in our eyes, but we often read testimonies that we receive and we cry. So I thought, let's not cry coming on that stage, but it is such a drive for us and such a privilege, as Alessandro said, to read all those things and to see the impact. It's incredible. We don't realize what we have on this action of the Erasmus Plus program, which is the only action 100% dedicated to young people who are disadvantaged. It's a big priority for Erasmus Plus. It's also a green priority, and we're just gonna keep on allowing more young people. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, since we applied for this award, we doubled the number of young people with few opportunities who took part, and we want to. Yes, you confirm, because he has the figures. So, and we want to keep on bringing more of those opportunities. And I will just, a very quick thing, but that's something that touched us very deeply, is that there was a group of young Czech orphans who had never traveled across Europe, and they were about to go on their trip, and the day before they told their accompanying people, we are too scared, we never been out of our city, we don't want to go. And so through coaching and reassurance, they went, and they came back completely changed. They said, we can't wait to discover more of Europe. We feel more European, and that is just amazing.
Thank you very much. I think that's very touching for everyone. Thank you and congratulations. Oh. Yeah, that's very touching. It's now time for our final category, excellence in open administration. And here are your nominees. The European Data Protection Supervisor, EDPS, for organizing 2 exercises to raise awareness among EU staff on how to manage data breaches, which was organized in partnership with the EU Agency for Cybersecurity. These exercises brought together 6 EU institutions to test their readiness and raise awareness of the risks of cybersecurity incidents. The European Commission's DG RTD for making the draft text of the Horizon Europe work program publicly available. By proactively disclosing the text in the comitology register, the initiative improved fairness, simplified processes, and increased stakeholder satisfaction. And another project from the European Commission's DG RTD, the Task Force on Startups and Scale-Ups. Through a cross-service structure and continuous dialogue, with founders and investors, the task force has significantly improved how the Commission interacts with Europe's startup community, delivering open participatory policymaking and more coherent EU action. The European Commission's DG ENER for improving access to documents by using streamlined procedures, clearer accountability, and proactive monitoring to transform its management of access requests and reduce overdue cases, listen to this, from 60 to 0. The European Food Safety Authority, European Environment Agency, European Chemicals Agency, European Medicines Agency, European Center for Disease Prevention and Control, and the European Commission's DG Santé for the One Health EU Instagram channel. This joint social media initiative uses visual storytelling and relatable content to make complex health, environmental, and safety topics accessible, advancing awareness of EU actions that protect people, animals, and ecosystems. The European External Action Service for launching a platform for workplace conflict and interpersonal mediation among EU diplomatic services to promote a more resilient workforce. The European Commission's DG RTD for the EU Funding and Me app. Designed around user needs, the app allows people to search, track, and share opportunities, as well as explore EU-funded projects on an interactive map. The European Commission's DG EOC for the introduction of clear procedures, systematic performance monitoring, and a dedicated IT tool to strengthen national agencies' indirect management of the Erasmus Plus program, which we've just heard about, and the European Solidarity Corps. The European Border and Coast Guard Agency, Frontex, for adopting a variety of policies to improve transparency, such as more proactive publication of documents, faster registration of access requests, and the immediate publication of documents made available following access requests. The Council of the European Union, the European Parliament, and the European Commission together for the EU Law Tracker, a website that improves transparency and access to information by enabling people to follow EU legislative proposals from beginning to end in a single location. The Court of Justice of the European Union for Curia Web TV, a new audiovisual platform featuring live broadcasts, educational series, and behind-the-scenes interviews to explain the court's activities and case law. The European Commission's DG Sante for the Get Screened EU campaign, which, through a multilingual web hub, media advertising, and local partnerships, worked to increase participation in cancer screening programs for 40 to 60-year-olds, particularly among disadvantaged groups. And finally, the European Commission's Secretariat General for the Electronic Access to European Commission Documents, EASE system. The system helps improve transparency by providing a public portal for citizens to request and track documents, and an internal management system for Commission staff to process requests. Madam Ombudswoman, our final category finalists.
So thank you so much. So our three finalists in excellence in open administration are the European Commission's DG RTD, Task Force on Startups and Scale-Ups.
I'm Navid, part of the European Commission's Task Force on Startups and Scale-Ups. The task force brings together over 60 colleagues from 25 Director Generals of the Commission, meaning we bring together different expertise, different knowledge from all across the Commission to work on startup and scale-up issues and align early on. The task force brings in also external stakeholders to the European Startup and Scale-Up Forum. The forum gives the startups and their associations more of a direct voice in shaping startup policies. For instance, with some of the members, we organized a startup policy hackathon, allowing them to draft the very first version of the strategy. As a result, our policymaking is more open, participatory, and efficient. The mission of the task force is to make Europe the best place to start and scale companies, and ultimately benefit the prosperity of Europe.
And the second is the European Commission's DG RTD, EU Funding and Me app, opportunities at your fingertips.
I'm here to present the EU Funding and Me app, opportunities at your fingertips. Good administration is not only about rules, it's about making the life of the citizens easier. That was the starting point for developing this app, because too often EU funding opportunities are complex, time-consuming, far away from the citizens. We developed this app by involving the users, for the users. This is basically a toolkit with many features available. You can check your projects, you can search for funding, you can check projects around the world, you can even receive notifications anytime, anywhere. Thousands of downloaders already using the app. That shows that when we involve the citizens, we can make the difference. So I invite you to download this app and test it, explore it. I'm sure that you will enjoy it.
I do enjoy it. I've already played with it and I downloaded it, so really incredible. And last but not least, the Council of the European Union, the European Parliament, and the European Commission's EU Law Tracker interinstitutional website for following the legislative process.
Hi, I am Maria. and this is a joint project of the European Parliament, the Council of the European Union, and the European Commission. It is called the EU Law Tracker, institutional website to follow the legislative process. Anyone can follow how EU laws are made, step by step, all in one place. It brings together the main documents from the institutions and clearly shows how EU legislation is made in a timeline view. So, thanks to the EU Law Tracker, the EU lawmaking process is more transparent and easier to understand. Now, anyone can follow how EU laws evolve and how decisions are taken in the EU.
So congratulations to all the shortlisted projects. And our winner in open administration is the Council of the European Union, the European Parliament, and the European Commission EU Law Tracker.
So I think everyone here would like to know, what were the challenges of the three institutions working together on this project? I don't know who wants to answer, but whoever does, please take the mic.
Can I start, maybe?
Challenges and joys, let's make it that way.
Yes. So first of all, I mean, we are already here 6, but there are many others in the watching us in the streaming, because we have been actually, a lot of people have been involved in this process, and just to mention one, Maria Alemani, which is now cannot see us, but has been the project responsible from the council side for a long time. And just to say on the challenges, I think it was the 3 different cultures, in a way, of organizations that need to get together. And at the end, we have managed to have a very good atmosphere and work very well in a good spirit. And that has been the challenge, but at the same time, the biggest reward.
As it always is, you always work it out in the end. It may take a while to get there, right? Have you found that citizens appreciate this? Do people actually want to track it? I mean, perhaps before it would have been too difficult, but now that this has been made easier, what has been the reaction from citizens?
Well, we are waiting, of course, for user feedback because it's still a very recent project. We very much hope that this will improve citizens' trust in EU lawmaking and also that we provide a very transparent view on how legislation gets into life. And I mean, we have heard tonight so many nice projects and how we are all engaged in making Europe happen for our citizens. And I think this also happens due to the EU law that allows also for certain projects to come to life. So it's also a privilege to be able to offer to citizens a website where they can actually see what's coming. They can also have their say, contact, namely, I mean, we are the team from Parliament, so they can also contact MEPs, they can get involved, and I think this is something we very much look forward to have also their positive feedback on this project.
Well, I think journalists will appreciate it, speaking for myself. We definitely can use this. So thank you very much for all your hard work and many, many congratulations. So we've now had the winners of the 4 categories, but we still have a couple of awards to give out. First, we have to announce the winner of the public vote, as well as our overall champion. Before we do that, however, we would like to take this opportunity to thank the members of the European Ombudsman Award for Good Administration Advisory Board. The board spent a great deal of time examining all nominees and helping the Ombudswoman select each category's shortlist and winners, and as you can see, that was not an easy task. The three members of the board are Georgina Wright. She's a special advisor to the president and a senior fellow at the German Marshall Fund of the United States. Raresh Boitsu, president of the European Youth Forum, and Claudia Monti, former Ombudswoman of Luxembourg. And Raresh is here with us tonight, and I would now like to invite him up to the stage to share his experiences going through the projects. Everyone has seen how exceptional these efforts have been. So how do you start? You have all of these, I'm sure, as you look at each one of them, you're like, wow, this is incredible. How do you ever narrow them down? And what sort of decision-making process is that?
Well, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the Ombudswoman for her trust in Georgina, Claudia, and myself to carry out this very important piece of work. We made your life hopefully easier. You didn't make our lives very easy, I have to say. I don't know, we really took a lot of time. We spent a lot of time in the advisory group to think, I think, along three main lines. The first one is how well can these fantastic, talented professionals speak about their work. Every single time what we saw was a lot of passion and very often a clear track record of how you had gotten there. The second point was, all right, to which extent does it actually create impact for people on the ground? And the third part of it was actually, all right, was this, a team effort? Is this really a nomination made by someone who understands interinstitutional cooperation, who knows that these things don't happen, or at the very least don't stick around, and there's an entire, village around them? And I think all the nominees did that fantastically, all the shortlisted initiatives did that amazingly, all the category winners did that very, very well, and the winners, as we'll see soon, did a good job with that. But it wasn't very easy, that's for sure.
I can imagine. And there's so much bad news around, I know, because I write a lot of it. This must have been just really encouraging that good things are happening. People's lives are being changed in better ways, also with the use of AI, also with, online life can also get better as we've seen. So can you pick out a trend that you saw in these projects, sort of, what would be something that is a common theme among them? Sorry, he didn't know my questions in advance, so I'm putting you on the spot, sorry.
It's fantastic. I think, well, these are the last 4 hours of my mind that I spent at the European Youth Forum. So also kind of looking back at the past 2 years, what we've seen, I think, all across our cooperation with the European Union, with all institutions, is that our democracies are suffering, right? The very values that the European Union stands for are constantly under attack by people who think we absolutely shouldn't have all of this, all of the principles behind it, the work behind it just shouldn't exist. And I think the fact that you do show up every day, the fact that you do the work, from early morning to very late night, even if sometimes you feel a bit disconnected from the people you do it with, I think that was the common thread through all of it, the genuine hard work that happened to make sure that EU citizens sometimes, and that's the very frustrating part, I can imagine, without them knowing it, that you do it every day to make all of our lives a lot easier. And for that, I think on behalf of the whole advisory board, I can say a big, big thank you.
That's very nice. Thank you very much. And again, our thanks to Georgina and Claudia as well, who couldn't be here tonight. So it's now time to announce the winner of the public vote. Our Ombudswoman comes back again with, we will have a video about this. And then, sorry, I was a little too fast. Wait.
Okay. So thank you so much, Teri. And let me once again take this time to thank Rares because all the entire advisory board. I know how difficult it must have been. I saw from the beginning the 48 projects, so you did make my life easier, even though still very challenging and still very, very difficult. So thank you for your work and for your time, very valuable as well. So as you know, we also held an online public vote to determine the most popular project. A record, as you saw just now, 12,000 people voted for their favorite projects this year, and the most popular project received over 10% of all the votes cast. So that winning project is the European Climate Pact, Citizens Driving Europe's Climate Action. Congratulations. You can come to the stage again.
So we'll just ask you one more question. I mean, you've already been up here once. I asked you a couple of questions, but how does it feel now, not just having engaged so many citizens, but finding out that so many other people also voted for you? 12,000 people thought you were the best of all of these projects.
We are very, very happy. And we are very happy that this really shows how citizens care, how citizens are keen to engage, how citizens are keen to participate. Through the Climate Pact, we organize lots of events, lots of activities all across Europe, and we are so happy to see the impact that we can have and the positive attitude that we can foster in all of these countries around Europe, and to get people engaged, to get people involved, and also to see the work of the team recognized. Thank you.
Congratulations. I hope it gives you a lot of energy going forward. Thank you again. And this brings us to our final item on the agenda, the overall winner. And I am going to invite the Ombudswoman back once again for our big champion of the evening.
So indeed, we are now really ready to find out which of the 4 category winners is the overall winner of the 2026 Good Administration Award. There were so many, as you have seen, passionate, fantastic, committed projects, very generous projects submitted for consideration, and picking the category shortlists and winners was difficult enough. So after careful consideration, I am pleased to announce our overall winner. And the overall winner is Europol Cyber Defenders, Building Digital Resilience Through a Roblox Game. Thank you. So you can come to the stage again, please.
If you could just stay one more moment. Sorry, we're getting you a mic. Oh, did we lose it? Sorry. Yeah, the Ombudswoman is going to ask you a couple of questions. That's right. If you could just wait. We have made a very special video for your winning award, and they will play that. You'll just stay with us for a moment. You'll probably want to watch it too. Sorry.
The Award of Good Administration is a wonderful opportunity to celebrate good administration. The overall winner this year of the Good Administration Award is a project of Europol called Cyber Defenders.
Cyber Defenders is a game on Roblox that helps children spot online fraud, identity theft, and grooming before they become a victim.
It's all about building resilience in the digital space and targeting a very important public. That's our children.
We need to capture the criminal.
Where do you want to go now, then?
My kids are 8 years old and 13 years old, so what they like is that they can play together with their friends, but it means that other people can also intervene in the game.
Strangers can chat with me, but I don't chat with them. I prefer playing with my friends because I know them.
I never chat with people I don't know.
These kind of games actually are already inside of my house. I have children of my own, and it is not always that we are able to be there beside them.
I worry about them having some inappropriate contact or maybe having harmful questions put to them.
Do not play with people that you don't know. They can steal your account. Yeah.
It's happened to one or two of my friends to have lost their account.
Kids don't like to be lectured at. They don't like to be just told what to do. It's best if they can work that out themselves by playing and by finding solutions themselves.
Oh, that's Europe.
With cyber defenders, we use new tools, new technology to reach the children where they play.
So it meets them in their own environment.
The game can be, a good starting point to have a conversation.
What we've seen from our interaction with schools is that teachers and parents alike are really looking for resources, looking for help.
The game actually allowed me to speak with my younger 10 years old son to speak freely about what kind of threats might exist.
So it's great if a public institution steps up and really thinks about what will work for a certain age group.
The main message that I want to pass to this team is congratulations and thank you very much for your idea, for your commitment, and also for your engagement. Thank you very much.
And now the Ombudswoman will do a little interview.
No, it's very short. It's very late. I already think I'm very thankful for the time of everyone. I think we can all feel proud today in this room, and I congratulate you again. Just a very small question that I would like to know. Do you have feedback, from school teachers, from parents, from kids that you can share with us?
Yes. Actually, this week we just finished doing some sessions with the European School in The Hague. And what we did notice is that even when you just start talking about games with kids, we did some sessions with kids 10 to 12 years old, they start opening up really quickly and they start sharing with you situations that they've faced online. You start seeing that they already have the knowledge of that they need to tell their parents about it, that they need to use the reporting tools on the games, and even when they're playing the game, you can see how their perception changes on how to interact with strangers in the game, because the game is on a platform that they already know, on Roblox, and it was really exciting to see that the game actually works, that they were a lot more open to learn about how to find these red flags when they're actually experiencing it themselves, and like you said in the video, when they're making decisions themselves instead of being told what to do.
I can relate to that, and it's very important. Did you have any challenges when you were developing this game?
A few, yes. I think it's easy working in the public sector to do the same thing as you've done the year before, because it's easier to get approval, it's easier with procurement and so on. So we were very lucky at Europol that when we started this project, that we had the support of management, but also the support of our legal team, the support of our procurement team, to look into this and to make it possible. And I think what was mentioned earlier is that at Europol we sometimes see the dark side of society, and unfortunately also the impact it has to children, the threats to minors that exist today. And I think it's also the commitment of our colleagues in law enforcement that we see that keep working on this and keep working to achieve results at operational level, that also helped us and inspired us to build this prevention tool. So, yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Back to you, Teri. Thank you. Congratulations again.
Congratulations. And thank you. And with that, we are coming to the end of this 5th edition of the Ombudsman Award for Good Administration. I think everyone can share the view that it has been a very inspiring evening, and I'm very grateful to have been a part of it. So thank you to the staff, thank you to the Ombudswoman for allowing me to be here. And I think that everyone will probably go away with a lot of inspiration, a lot of motivation to continue doing these projects, and for that, I think we should all be grateful. And I will hand over to Ombudswoman Anjinho for some final thoughts.
Yes. Just a few words as a closure. So as we bring this ceremony to a close, of course, I would like to thank each and every one of you for being here in this special occasion. This ceremony, what it is a celebration of people, of Europe, of European civil service, of you, of ideas that actually bring a value added to the European Union and to its citizens. So let this be a reminder of what we can achieve by a committed, imaginative, and ambitious civil servant yourselves. Thank you all for submitting your projects to our advisory board again. My office for organizing this initiative. Special congratulations to the winners, and a very special thank you to you, Teri, and also to my communication unit, without which this event would not have been possible. So allow me to name them: Gundi, Honor, Carolina, Marina, Christelle, Michael, Natalie, Victoria, and our trainee, Javier. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really hope that this evening has been as memorable for you as it has been for me, particularly being the first one. And I now, of course, invite you to join us in the reception outside. Thank you so much. Thank you.